Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Restoration Therapy. Kevin is here again, and in this video, I would like to apply some quality of life improvements, as well as some basic maintenance to this 2009 era MacBook Pro. My intention with this is to just create a simple little play computer for my son to goof around with that I won't really care too much if it breaks, because number one, I got it for free, and number two, it's really not that useful nowadays other than sort of a collector's item or just something to play around with. So this is a quite beautiful machine, and I'm very much looking forward to getting this thing back in service in some capacity. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to remove this lever back here, which will expose the hard drive and the battery for this computer. And what I'm going to do is replace it with this solid state hard drive and replace this dead battery with a new one. So we'll pop the battery out and then recycle it, because like I said, it's dead and I can't do anything with it. And to remove this hard drive, we're going to first have to remove these three Phillips head screws. So go ahead and get your little tiny Phillips head screwdriver out, and let's pop this black bracket off, and then we'll set this black bracket aside. We have two other little screws over here that we'll take out, and then once we do that, the hard drive will just kind of slide right up. We'll pop the SATA cable out, and then keep an eye out on these four nipples that are on the side of the hard drive. We're going to have to reuse those later, so we'll take that and put it aside. Now keep an eye on these four screws up here. We're going to need to take these four screws out, as well as these four screws on the other side. This holds the other panel on that's currently covering the motherboard. And now we'll take this side off first. These screws should be the same size. You don't really have to worry about maintaining order or anything with these. So we'll take out these four. But when you take out these four, you're going to want to remember which one you took out first. Remember the order, because you can see that one's a long one. This one here is also a long one, as well as this, and the very last one is not. So just keep an eye on the order that these came out in. We'll pull this lever up, and then we'll slide the top off. And here we go. The internals of the computer are right here. So let's wipe off some dust, and we'll first attack this RAM. So I'm going to slide this side out and this side out and pop this RAM chip out. And then I'm going to pop the other RAM chip out. Slide it just like that. And here are the 2 gigabytes of RAM that this machine originally shipped with. And what I'm going to do is replace it with some new RAM. So we'll do a RAM upgrade to 2 4 gigabyte chips, which will upgrade this from a 2 to an 8 gigabyte machine. And we'll stick those in there. So it should be a pretty nice upgrade for this computer. Then we'll slide the bottom chip in first. And then second, we'll slide in the top chip right here. Excellent. Very good. Very, very good. Very good. Very proud of you. Very proud of myself. Now I want to take off this trackpad. So I have to first remove these four screws right here. And I'm going to attempt a repair on this trackpad, which is not registering clicks consistently. So maybe like 1 out of 10 click will respond. And we'll take a look at what can cause that and one thing we can try to do to fix it. So we'll unscrew these four, take this out. And then using a Y bit on this screwdriver, I'm going to take out these top 6 little teensy tiny screws right here. So there's these two, and then I'll remove the rest of them. And once I have all 6 of these removed, there is another Y bit right down here that's flat and a bit thicker. So we'll slide down here and take this one out. See how flat that is. Next thing we're going to do is take these 2 Phillips head screws and take them out so we could remove this black bracket that's holding down a ribbon cable connecting the touchpad to the motherboard. So I'm going to slide this up, take this out, move it out of the way, and then you can see right here, this can just pop right up, and that will remove the trackpad from the machine itself. And then we could slide it out. Keep in mind that there's a towel that I'm using to separate the 2 halves of the laptop to protect the screen. So this is the metal piece I was talking about, and there's just basically some tape on top of it. And when this thing gets hit a bunch of times for years and years and years, it can slide and it doesn't make direct contact. And so what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to attempt to peel this tape right here, basically. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some alcohol and clean this up a little bit. Then I'm going to try to put it back on as centered as I can. And I may have to come back and repair this, make it a little bit better later. I've had some pretty good success doing this in the past with this and similar machines before. So I'm holding it down as centered as I can. This isn't a permanent fix, but it does kind of fix it. And I don't know, I've had some that I fixed a long time ago that still work. Let me pop this in here. And then next we'll put this bracket back in with these Phillips head screws. Slide that in. Then we'll slide that in. Excellent. And then we'll just install this in the reverse order that we uninstalled it, of course. So we'll screw this in here. And then we'll put these 6 Y screws in down here. So we got here one on the outside, then the other outside, and then I'll install the other screws here. And then we should be in good shape. So now holding pretty good. Awesome. All right, we'll see how that works in just a little bit. Next thing that I want to do is put the new hard drive in. So this will be a solid state 128 gig hard drive. Remember these nipples from the original hard drive, we're going to have to go and put these in here so that it can fit nice and firm into this case. So I'll put all 4 of these back here. Let's plug in the SATA cable and then snap this down. Excellent. Now we'll put this black bracket back in place by screwing it up here with a Phillips head. And then these 2 down here in the hard drive is nice and securely installed. We'll put this bracket back in place so that we can screw the other section of the computer back together. I'm going to start by doing these 2 outside screws and then go back to the other side and screw these 2 in. Sometimes when you screw this in, it doesn't always get flush. So I do this and it pretty much works fine. So now it looks flush, looks good. Now we can take this panel, this motherboard cover, and slide this back into place. So we'll slide it down here first, and we'll snap the top in down here. And the very last thing we're going to do, well, I guess before that, is we have to put this in place. Remember the order that we had here. So this one's the small one. And then these 3 are the longer screws that we removed just a little bit ago. So let's put these back in place. Very nice. Very good. Very good. And then we have these other 4 screws over here that we'll put back in place. And these are the ones that should be the same size, so you shouldn't have to worry too much. So we'll slide this in, this in. We got this one here. And then lastly, we got this one here. The last thing we're going to do is replace the battery. So we'll take this brand new battery that I got. We'll take it out of its packaging here. And remember to lift up this lever so that these pieces slide out. This is required in order to snap the battery back in. We'll stick the bottom in first, and then we'll slide the top down. All right, so at this point, we have everything installed. The last thing we're going to have to do is put this panel back on. So we'll slide this down. And then once we get it snapped in place, we'll slide this lever down. So now this computer is in good shape for me to start working on it to install some new software, which I'm going to come back and do in a different video. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care, and bye-bye.